shop. And what we learned is you can change a community with the heart and the passion of one man. My name is Jason Malawiski, and I'm the Executive Director of Servolution Network. I'm here with my father-in-law, Bruce Adams, and I wanted to help tell the story of how Servolution got started in Azle, Texas. So we moved here in May of 2012. We have 5 children, and in November of 2012, our then 2-year-old Mitchell stuck a full bar of soap in our upstairs bathroom, and it turned out that it flooded the whole house. And my father-in-law, Bruce Adams, spent the next 6 to 8 months fixing up our house, replacing flooring, ceiling, painting the whole house. We did some extensive repairs, but what it really meant is we had a tremendous amount of time together, and he had some amazing ideas that really planted seeds in my life on things we could do or things we should be doing. So share a little bit, Bruce, about what you've done in the past and how you found opportunities to serve in your community.
I used to live in a little community called Willow Park, and I went to a church called Willow Park Baptist Church, and every year in April, they called it Christmas in April, and we would go out and work on the elderly's front porches, the yards, building wheelchair ramps, and doing some painting on the outside the house. And one day we were sitting around here, and I said, "Did the church do anything like that?" Because I mean, we used to take off for 2 weeks at a time and go help build another church in another state. And I said, "Does this church do anything like that? We ought to get involved in doing something like that, because I've been in construction all my life and I like working with my hands." So that's kind of the vision that I gave Jason, and we started out with our neighbor's house working on her front porch, and it's blown from there.
So really, one of the things we learned was I cannot fix anything at all, and this man right here can fix everything. So my job was to call the party and to invite guys like Bruce to take part and use their time, talents, and skills to serve others. So we began probably the first year of serving people in our local church and our neighbors to figure out kind of what love looked like in our circle of influence, if you will. Talk to me a little bit about what you did in California also.
In California, I was affiliated with a group called Desert Samaritans, and they were strictly for the handicapped people, and we would go out and put their elevators up. You know, they would buy the elevator, but they couldn't afford to have it installed, or wheelchair ramps, or even handicap bars and stuff like that in their bathroom, so they could get up off the toilet or have something to hang on in the showers and bathrooms. So we used to go, the Desert Samaritans would buy those things and take those bars and go put them in the handicap houses, and even helping do wheelchair ramps going into the showers and stuff like that. And that's what I did in California, and I always enjoyed helping the elderly like that. And now I am one.
You know, one of the things he did is really challenge my faith. A lot of times I think we wait for the person to come sit next door to us or sit in the seat next to us at church before we want to love at them. And he really challenged me just personally to get outside the walls of the church and do something with the talents we all have. One of the first questions I ask people is, what is your passion? So Bruce, what does your ministry look like?
Well, I like training people. I mean, I knew I was getting close to my retirement age, and I was introduced to a group of what they call the Refuge, which is a rehabilitation for drug addict men and alcoholics and that kind of thing. And so I started going down to the Refuge, taking men out of the Refuge that had their time in, and train them in a new field. Taken AC guy, and now he has worked for me for about 3 years, and now he is now in business for himself, doing remodel work. Another one was a plumber, and he is now back into plumbing, but he has construction ideals now of how to frame a house and build things. And both of these guys are really doing well. And I still use the guys out of the refuge, and they need a second chance. So that is my feeling of what I do as a missionary type work.
So I served 20 years in the military. I actually joined the Navy to go see the world, and they sent me to Grand Prairie, Texas, of all places. In 2002, I got my degree and I switched over to the Air Force, and I was trained to be a program manager. When I retired in 2015, I was thinking, what can I do with all these skills that I've been given, because I didn't feel like I did them enough or used them enough for the kingdom, if you will. So when we were in Oklahoma City, we were part of a church called Heartland Community Church, and they had an outreach ministry called Servolution. And as it turns out, Servolution is a nationwide, now worldwide program that was from a church that started in Louisiana in response to Hurricane Katrina. And basically it looks different everywhere you go, but it just begins and ends with loving people where they are. So one Wednesday evening, I wore a shirt to the church at Azle. Pastor Chad Giesland said, "What is that?" And I got to have an opportunity to share with him of what Servolution was, and he told me, we need that at our church. So where did Servolution start in my heart? So I was stationed in Oklahoma City. We went to Heartland Community Church, and I had some amazing men in my life. Pastor Ken, my best friends Aaron and Alan, they had tremendous skill sets. One of them was he owned a landscape business. The other one was our worship leader. And Servolution was our outreach program there. It is actually an outreach program that started in Louisiana in response to Hurricane Katrina. So I learned things about what it looked like to love on homeowners that were in apartment complexes. We served at elementary schools, cleaning up all the debris and making them revitalized. We just loved on our neighbors that were close to our church. So when the military moved us to Azle in 2012, I had those seeds implanted in me, but I didn't know what to do with them. So when we saw a few needs in our church and in our local community, it was an opportunity for us to have Servolution here in this community. There's 450 churches around the world that have Servolution outreach ministries. We do it a little bit differently here. Typically at the other locations, it's one church and that's their outreach ministry. We have a very unique opportunity where we're trying to unite the whole church, the whole community, to work together and just to love your neighbor.
Why don't you explain to them what brought us back home to Texas?
Sure, I'd love to. So in the military, you become a careerist. I think I had set myself up to the point to where my next military assignment was going to be straight to the Pentagon, right where Jason wanted to go. And frankly, God had other plans. I think he really gave me a purpose. We got a call that would forever change our lives. We got a call that our 3 nieces and nephews were seized by CPS. And it was really a call for Crystal and I to pray and to take some action. The verse James 1:27 comes to mind, where we're supposed to care for the widows and orphans of the world. And long story short, we made a decision that we would foster and then later adopt Bruce's grandchildren, our nieces and nephews. We had said all along that we'd never move back to Texas, and again, God had other plans. So part of the custody agreement was we would move back to Texas. So here we are, right here where we started.
We started with doing one house at a time, and it's
Now we've done 76.
How many houses are y'all up to right now?
76.
70.
We started with one house at a time, and now we're doing
5 to 7.
5 to
something.
7 houses a week during the Servolution.
What is your part in it, Bruce?
I'm retired now, so I'm much more of a parts run. I do the parts running, but I'm still I guess I get asked a lot of knowledge points about how to do this and how to do that.
He's done everything though. So he
I
kind of
started
cast
that.
a vision. He's been tell him about being a site captain.
Yeah, I was a site captain, which I run a whole house myself. And the deal about trying to run a house is you've got to get in there and, how do you say that? Put it through where you can get it done in the adequate amount of hours that you got to do it in.
Do you feel challenged about doing that?
Do I feel challenged? No, that's all I've done all my life.
So you can pretty much go to the house and you can just, it's no problem whatsoever.
Right.
Okay.
I've built commercial buildings from the ground up. I used to be a commercial construction superintendent.
So we rely on guys like Bruce to organize the chaos, if you will. My job is to call the party. His job is to lead them to complete a project.
What would you tell a guy like Bruce if you didn't know him? What it was all about?
What it was all about. So we need you to change somebody's life. Somebody who's unable to take care of their own basic needs, from siding to painting to plumbing to some emergency electrical. We need you because, frankly, a guy like me, I can't fix anything, and I depend on guys like you to tell me if I can do it, and then if we can do it, how we can do it in the most economical fashion, and then more importantly, can we do it with volunteers? Yeah, we can't do it without guys like Bruce.
Yeah, what I was trying to get was schedule each hour to get the most work done with what you got. That's what I was trying to say.
We try and revitalize a house on a Friday and a Saturday, which is basically 8 hours and 8 hours. So it's, some of them are very extensive, and it requires a lot of coordination in his brain to make sure we're dancing to the right music.